welcome or welcome back to my channel. Today we are discussing one really important question. That question is, how do I know my art style and how do I find my art style if I am just a beginning artist, if I know that I love drawing, but I've been drawing like hundreds of stuff and none of them are exactly mine. None of them have those specific characteristics that would make this art piece be my kind of art piece. I'm going to give you some tips that actually helped me create my aesthetic, and also I'm going to show you how you can discover yourself and your own art style. If you think about your favorite artist, you probably have a reason why that artist is your favorite, and that artist probably has some kind of style which is specific to them that you really like. For example, I really love this artist and her name is Anna Lunak. She's also posting YouTube videos and I really love her art style because it resonates with me. She has this famous character of hers which is a fox, and she has those adorable like lines and the way she just colors everything that is so like whimsical and also kind of like a coloring book, like really some kind of drawing with a pencil, and it's just so beautiful and I really love to look at it. It makes me so calm, and I know that like it's her art style because of the motifs that she is using, because she is always putting those animals in adorable scenes and she's making them feel like people, and because the way she colors everything. That is something that is very specific to her art style. In my case, as most people probably, I started drawing when I was a kid. Of course, those drawings were not perfect at all, but I drew a lot of different stuff that are not, of course, related at all. And then when I really started to, really take drawing and illustrations, stuff like that seriously, at first, honestly, I started like drawing fictional characters and I was drawing like BTS members, and it wasn't really like good or anything. I was just doing that because I liked it at that time and it was a really good practice. I've always been drawing nature, and especially like some kind of scenery or plants or, for example, flowers. I've always been drawn to nature. And then with time, I discovered that I'm into vintage and cottagecore art. But how exactly did I do that? Well, first you need to know two really important things, in my opinion, that you have to have in mind in order to find your own art style. And the first one is time. Just time and patience at the beginning is a key to finding your own art style, because I also thought that for me it wouldn't be exactly possible and I didn't know how to exactly like what is my art style, what do I love. But over time, when I was drawing a lot more and when I was just drawn to something that I love, that kind of somehow even spontaneously became my own art style. But it took some time to actually get there because, as I said, first I was drawing random things as a child, then I was drawing BTS members, then I was just drawing nature and scenery, like I was using color pencils, I was using markers, I was really just drawing anything at that time. And then after a few drawings, or more than few, I just realized what exactly do I love. And I also found that the best technique for me is digital drawing, but we're gonna go into that a bit later. And I also think that finding your own art style and just being drawn to something, it really depends also on when you're starting your art journey, because as I said, people usually, of course, they all try drawing as a kid. I mean, that is a great activity for little kids and when you're developing yourself and stuff like that. But I think it just depends whether you just continue to draw or you stop it. And maybe most people just stop and they don't care. But us artists just continue to draw and to discover themselves as artists. If you start as a kid, then you draw as a teenager, but you're going to develop yourself, you're going to develop your thoughts, you're going to develop your interests, And that's how you're also going to develop your art style, because I think it just comes with the way you develop as a person, and then those interests basically align with what you're designing. For me personally, I am a very much adventurous kind of spirit. I am very much like some kind of hobbit which goes to adventure, and I just really love going out exploring. And of course I love like a big city and stuff like that. What really interests me, and honestly what really calms me down, and I think sometimes that is really important, that what you love drawing is kind of relaxing you, that it's giving you that peace in mind, and that it's giving you some kind of shelter that you basically don't have in like a real life kind of world. But anyways, going to nature, exploring, seeing all of those beautiful sceneries, seeing the animals, especially deers, who I love so much, and just generally seeing, for example, the sea or ocean, river, anything like that, that really relaxes me, or different types of flowers and stuff like that, that is just making me instantly calm when I'm surrounded by that. And then probably I kind of just transferred that beautiful mindset that I was having about nature and animals, and I kind of transferred that into my drawings, because when I'm drawing I also want to have those feelings of animals and nature and just all of those like earthy feelings, stuff like that. And then I probably pass that to my drawings, and from my drawings I also want you guys to feel the same way, to know the beauty of nature, to romanticize nature and animals who are just so important to us. And that's why my tip for you is, if you're interested like in birds, maybe you're also interested in drawing birds because you love them as animals, you are, fascinated by all of the species and colors and stuff like that. Just observe what you generally love in life, what really interests you, and whether you are interested in actually turning that into art. And generally look at your art over the time, over the years. What were you drawing the most? What were the motives? Is there like any kind of connection to those motives, to what you're drawing? And just observe yourself from that kind of perspective, because I think that usually people, as I said, transfer pieces of their life, or maybe what they want to have or want to be, into their drawings. And as I said, just observe yourself first, and then see whether you draw that, whether there is some kind of connection to that. But I also believe that there is basically no point in passing time if you're not going to be drawing. So if you're not going to be experimenting with styles or with motives that you have, because there is, as I said, no point in like, if you give yourself a year to find your own art style, if you're not really drawing during that time, because it's not gonna, come just from the sky and into your hand and then you're going to be drawing your art style. You just have to try it out, and you have to see what is comfortable to you, what you would maybe love to learn about more. And as I said, if you're drawing multiple things, what of those things is the one that you feel best at? I was drawing people a lot. I thought that was my interest, and then first of all that didn't look good. Honestly, I didn't feel like learning much about drawing people, and then somehow that kind of thing just left me, because I didn't care honestly about drawing people, and I honestly didn't care about drawing realistically. I was just not curious about that, and then somehow fell in love a bit more with nature, and especially with like woodland animals like deer, foxes, squirrels, badgers. And then somehow that became my interest, and of course I wanted, like, if I was just so fascinated by that, I wanted to show that inside my art. And I was also talking about different medias that you draw in, because it's not just important to have like a motive or a base at what you love drawing. It is really important to just know the type of drawings you want to make, the art media that you're going to be choosing. And that's why I kind of chose digital art over physical stuff like color pencils, watercolors, crayons, whatever. I decided to go with digital drawing, and you should decide for yourself what media you would like to draw with. But again, I think that also depends on time and experimentation. I mean, at first, when you're just a kid or something, you're, of course, hopefully at least, you're not given like an iPad and then you're like, okay, just draw whatever. No, you draw with coloring pencils, I think, and then over time you kind of try watercoloring, different brushes, stuff like that. And I think we all kind of start with physical drawing and illustrating, but then over time I just realized that I like digital drawing more. But of course I've liked coloring pencils because it just feels, it reminds me of childhood, and it feels somehow so whimsical again, dreamy, cartoony even. It feels like you don't have to do it really realistically if you don't want to. And coloring pencils kind of remind me more of my art style because they're just so simple, and you can just color the whole piece with one color and then you're done. It's simple, it's adorable. I was drawing a lot with coloring pencils. Then I kind of moved to watercolors, and I honestly generally really like watercolors. I think they're fascinating. But then again, I kind of stopped using them because, I mean, of course, the art supplies and stuff are expensive if you want to have quality stuff. And generally, I was kind of, stressed out, honestly, about the whole process and why I'm not getting the right color, or maybe why I'm not getting the right, finished piece, stuff like that. I was just so stressed out about the whole process, and I didn't want to continue. And then somehow I was like watching probably Instagram or something. I saw that people are drawing on like their iPads, on their digital screens, and then somehow that interested me a lot. And then I kind of, at first, my story is that at first I had Procreate on my phone, so not even not even the stylus or whatever. I was just having my finger, and at first I was drawing on my phone. It was Procreate, but on my phone, and honestly it wasn't even that bad as it seems, but it kind of was. And then I actually saved, I mean, my mother bought me for like my birthday or something, my first ever and only iPad. And then I was just, of course, reborn because I knew Procreate, but I was drawing with my finger. And when I had the stylus and a big screen, I was just so impressed. And that's how like my love for digital art kind of started. From that moment, I was doing some physical kind of drawings, but I was just always, surprised how, everything that I draw with Procreate just kind of functionates. I was willing to learn the program, what exactly do I have there, what are my options, what are my brushes, etc. So I was really willing to learn that program, and then somehow I just, didn't want to use anything else other than Procreate and digital kind of drawing. So I think that was what actually made me choose this, because it's kind of even inexpensive. You pay Procreate just once, it's like under $15 or euros. Then you just, you have to have an iPad, but once you have an iPad, you basically have it, until it stops functioning. And I think it's like a cheaper kind of option, which is making me very much peaceful, and it's making me relaxed a bit more. And I don't know, I think it just, I'm not stressed out about drawing, I just draw. I learned what I have to learn about Procreate, the basics, and please just choose something that you're most comfortable with, that is not giving you anxiety once you're drawing, and I think that is going to be the best shot at finding your own art media. Another few quick tips that I have for you are basically, as I said earlier, just observe the art you're surrounded with. If you have, for example, some kind of pictures or something framed, see what is on them, what's the technique, what do you love about it so much. or if you have like a Pinterest board as I do, then observe what you're actually pinning, what you're actually saving, like what kind of art style is interesting for you, why you're pinning that, and whether you would like to maybe try that out for yourself, or you're just, pinning it because it's beautiful. But chances are, I think, that you're pinning it because you think it's fascinating, you really love it, and you would probably want to draw like that as well. Observe like your favorite painters from the past or famous painters. What kind of famous painter do you love? For example, I really love Van Gogh, but I think like his art style is kind of not my thing. But then again, I really love the scenery that he is drawing, and I'm so fascinated with that. And that's why I'm also kind of trying to draw like sceneries that are very that are very close to me and my loves, my wishes. For example, I mean, it's not like a comparison, of course, or whatever, but I decided to draw like this Hobbit scenery because I love Lord of the Rings, I love Hobbit, I love the aesthetic of this. I would also love to live there, of course, and that's why I just decided to draw this, because it is me, it is relaxing me, it is just beautiful. But anyways, find, maybe like give yourself a task to find your own favorite painter and think about why is he or she your favorite, and what are some characteristics of their drawing that maybe you would love to try. Maybe even try to invest in like some kind of real like physical media. Invest in like watercolors or crayons or color pencils. They don't even need to be like expensive. Just buy some, cheap version of it. Try to sketch out a few things and see whether you like that or not, whether you like those watercolors. What do you like about them? Are they relaxing you, or they're just giving you the stress? Maybe even try out some kind of free at first. You don't have to buy Procreate. Maybe try out some free website or a free application that is allowing you to draw digitally, or even, draw digitally in like Instagram stories app. It doesn't even matter. Just try it out at first. Use those like cheap options and see what is really giving you the best feeling, but just see for yourself and go with it. I don't even have other comments than just go with it, try it out, and I think that time will actually tell what is going to be your art style. And guys, like the last piece of honest advice and generally some nice words, it also took me a lot of time to find what I love drawing, and to be here today just knowing my art style kind of, and I still don't exactly know, because I'm kind of using one brush at this point, then on the other point I'm using different kind of brush, and I'm still experimenting. And I think over time you don't have to stay like one little constant and that's it. You can always, of course, develop. You can always use different maybe brushes or colors or even motifs that interest you, because as I said, you as a person develop yourself, so why wouldn't your art style develop with you? Don't stress out much about finding your art style, because I believe it's going to come to you naturally and spontaneously. And honestly, that is the best way, because you are an artist, you are a person with interest and with ability to develop. And I think your art is exactly that as well. I really hope that you find this video helpful, that you just draw, that you just relax yourself, because honestly that is what drawing really is, in my opinion. That you just try it out, have fun, and then over time, over experiments, you're going to find yourself in your own special like bubble that you're going to be comfortable with, and that people are going to be able to recognize that drawing and tell that is, their drawing. I'm going to see you very soon in the next video. Bye, dears!